jet to Tokyo to ask the chairman. I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to kill me. Okay.
Die Hard's a video game.
Video game. Video game.
Die Hard is a video game, and what just happened is called a scripted event. As a video game, this is to teach the player how enemies interact with their environment. It shows Hans isn't playing around, and neither is the Big Daddy from BioShock. But this is just one piece that makes Die Hard a video game. From the gameplay mechanics to the narrative elements and design. Make no mistake, Die Hard is a video game. Some of the biggest similarities between Die Hard and a video game are its gameplay mechanics. One such mechanic is time, which adds a sense of urgency, and in many games, keeps the player pushing forward with an extra challenge. Take for example the intro to Super Metroid, where you have to escape a planet before it explodes. Die Hard is just the same, with McClane having to save the hostages before they get killed by the detonators. These high stakes motivate the player to play carefully. In many instances throughout the film, McClane sweeps through the areas and checks corners. Games like Ready or Not or Rainbow Six heavily rely on tactics like this. In fact, these games are called tactical shooters, and these corner checking mechanics are one of the main parts of the gameplay loop. If someone neglects to check their corners, they will get killed. Some other mechanics are more straightforward, such as shooting and sprinting. This is how the player and McClane interact with the world. Speaking of interacting with the world, thanks to the physics engine, objects can be pushed down and used as cover. Cover is extremely common in third-person shooters, like the hit series Gears of War. Gears of War used cover so much that it was infamous for giving away combat encounters. Luckily, the developers of Die Hard were conscious of this and designed environments to look more natural. The physics also allow for emergent gameplay. Emergent gameplay is what happens when players use the environment in unexpected ways to achieve a goal. McClane uses the items he's been given in creative ways, like when he jammed the screwdriver in the elevator to keep it open. This isn't the only instance he gets creative with it. He uses the MP5 that he got off of one of the terrorists to hold his body weight while crawling down the shaft. Using an MP5 to support your body weight is very unrealistic, and games take their liberties when considering realism. Realism does not make better games, and the Die Hard developers knew this. The mechanics are not just one part of the puzzle though. There are also the narrative elements that make Die Hard a video game. The first way is through the radio. Metal Gear Solid uses a radio to convey most of its dialogue, as does Resident Evil 4. The radio offers opportunities for the devs to have direct dialogue between the antagonists and protagonists of their games. In Die Hard, McClane's radio is used to talk to Sergeant Al Powell and Hans Gruber. This allows for interesting interactions without explaining why they can talk, but they're not killing each other. This also allows characters like the Sergeant to talk to McClane without getting into personal trouble himself. The narrative is also divided into missions. McClane's first mission was to pull the fire alarm. This is so he can get into a position to fight the first major boss of Die Hard. This boss was the first German soldier sent up to the floor to investigate who pulled the alarm, to attract the fire department to the building. These missions keep McClane moving through the levels to achieve certain objectives and force the player to not get comfortable in any situation. All these previous aspects have touched on the most important thing that makes Die Hard a video game, which is design. Die Hard relies on one gimmick for the entire game. Many of the greatest games are based around these gimmicks. Die Hard's gimmick is the fact that McClane is not wearing any shoes. With his feet out, he becomes more vulnerable to the environment, like when enemies shoot out the windows and he has to walk on the glass. This does extra damage to his health. This mobility debuff makes McClane think intelligently about how he navigates the environment. A common area of video game design is resource management, such as in the survival horror genre or tactical shooters. McClane doesn't get more bullets magically throughout Die Hard. He does catch a lucky break earlier in the game, however. With the MP5 he loots off the German soldier. This gives him extra bullets that he needs for later in the game. There's one unanswered question left. If Die Hard's a video game, then why can't you play it? This is where I bring unfortunate news. Not every game can be played anymore. Bruce Willis got the first turn, and no one else got the opportunity. That is because Die Hard is a dead game. A dead game is a game you can no longer play. It is very common among multiplayer titles. Die Hard is no longer playable due to a licensing agreement, which is the most common reason single-player games get shut down. Attempts to have players still be able to play Die Hard have been made, with works towards Die Hard 6. However, due to development hell, it has been cancelled. People have been arguing whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie for decades. But that's not the important issue. The important issue is whether Die Hard is a movie or a video game. Die Hard is a game, but no one else gets to experience it due to poor preservation. They just get to watch footage of it online. It's important to keep preserving our media, otherwise Die Hard isn't the only game we won't be able to play anymore.
Watch my Twitch, thank you.